How sweet it is to be loved by you nerds. What's up? It's me, your buddy Paul HeyArcher. Welcome back to HeyArcher Live here on Nerd Affiliated. I was almost on time today. So close to being on time today, but you know me, that'd be off brand if I was on time. Gotta be late every time. This is your weekly, as I pour my drink, this is your weekly Thursday night talk show where we sit back and relax. I said we sit back and relax. And hopefully by now you've poured yourself just a little bit of, oh, it's this button.
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
As we cruise into the weekend, this week flew by. It literally flew by. A lot of things happen, a lot of things to talk about. So we'll do that, of course. So if you guys have any topics you want to cover, make sure you put that in the chat. If you have a YouTube channel, a podcast, a blog, vlog, OnlyFans, newsletter, smoke signals, whatever it may be, put it in the chat. Support one another. Plug yo shit. I'll probably do the thing where at the end of the show I put the chat up, or I put a link for the channel members to join if you guys want to do that. But yeah, a lot of things to talk about, a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of nerdy, as they would say. So definitely gonna need a drink. And of course, as Dada says, make sure you have your trees with you as well. I got the sniffles right now because I had some hot sauce and some food. That just happens. But as we say every week, without further ado, man, the myth, the legend, it is me. It is me. I am the problem. It is me. Good to see you guys here today on the show. Yeah, I can't believe it's Thursday already. I really cannot believe it's Thursday already. I'm not even logged into the right thing. That's fine. It's fine. So yeah, it's been quite a week. We have a lot to talk about. We'll fly through a bunch of things. I've been posting like a madman on social media, trying to get some engagement up. So it's also going to help me find things to talk about because there'll be some of the latest news there in the timeline. So like I said, if you guys have something you want to talk about, make sure you bring it up. Otherwise, I'm going to go through the nerd affiliated timeline and figure out some stuff to talk about. Just want to make sure I put that up on the other screen. So I have both. Great. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. I forgot I hid the chat the other day. So let me make sure I bring that back up. There you go. There you go. There you go. And I got to move you guys because the light's hitting you. I'm still trying to figure out this space. To be honest. Do that. Maybe I'll just turn the camera slight. Nope, the other way. There you go. But now I'm kind of off center. I'll just move over here. There we go. We got this. We got this. It just takes time. It just takes some time. Just take some time. Just take some time. Back up to the top. We got Sin in the house. First time on stream? Maybe? Cheers to you.
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
So welcome. Wait, Archer is a sand this whole time, dude. Whole time. I can't believe you didn't know that. You know, Saiyans, as we get older, you know, the hair starts to go, put on a little bit of weight. You know, you guys saw Nappa in the Saiyan saga, so that's just a normal thing. You know, we all don't look like Goku. You know, he's probably on Ozempic or something. Ultra in the house. Good to see you. As I knock things over. I'm not even sure what. I don't even know what I knocked over. So I'll move that over there. Still got the figures going. All right, cool. Rambling nerd in the house. Good to see you. Craft collects in the house. New season. I mean, I'm not new season. Man collects over here is new season. He got the new logo going on right over here. I think I've posed this question to you guys. So by all means, let me know what you think. You know, I love me an intro. I love me some theme music. I mean, come on. You think wrestling, favorite TV show, theme song really drives things home, you know? So I have not updated the video intro in a long time. Outside of when some of you join the channel memberships, I add you to that, of course. Make sure you join, 99 cents a month. But I have not updated the music in years. And I kind of want to put some new YouTube music in, potentially even shortening the length of time of the music. But as part of my routine in doing the show, thanks to Lenny pointed it out. Lenny did the FedEx thing. Like when somebody says to you for the first time, "Hey, did you notice the arrow and the FedEx logo?" You see it every time. Lenny pointed out that every time the intro music is ending and I go, "Without further ado," I do the drum roll at the end of the song. So now if I change the song, I potentially run into a song that does not have a drum roll, and then the streak of 244 episodes of me doing a drum roll ends. It's done. It is finito. So believe it or not, part of the reason why I have not updated the theme song to Hey Archer Live, despite changing every other theme song in the nerd affiliated space, is because of that stupid drum roll. So let me know. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Keep it. Maybe just change the video part of it again. But I'm really thinking about condensing that song. I really want to condense that song. But hello to Rambling Nerd, Patrick, and Manclex. Let these ads roll. There you go. Gotta make that ad rev, you know. Marsha in the house. Good to see you. They said Dada in the house. Good to see you. He got those trees going, of course. You changed the theme to Edge's theme, Metalingus, performed by Alter Bridge. Alter Bridge, which featured ex-members of Creed, but now they're back with Creed. So is Alter Bridge still a thing? I don't know. Why do I know that? Mental problems. Tony in the house. Good to see you. No, that's how we fund the content in these live shows. Exactly. Amy G, my cousin in the house. Good to see you. If you happen by coincidence to be a different Amy G and you're not my actual cousin, I'll let you roll with cousin today. Why not? And I was gonna say first time on my live, but you actually were, I think, in the audience way back when. So I don't think this is your first time, but I'll say just in case it is your first time and I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. But in case I'm wrong,
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
as we roll on, as we proceed to give you what you need, creativity from the future in the house. Good to see you. T3 in the house. Good to see you. He says, I'm not the problem. I don't know. But actually, I will be on T3's podcast this coming week. I don't know if you do it live, because I know that you're talking about mixing some things up. So I don't want to say it's live if it's not live, but I don't want to say it's not live if it is live. So I will just say I will be on T3's podcast next week. He'll give you the details, of course. Latest episode of Daredevil was fire. It was. We'll talk about that. No spoilers. Third time on the show. Awesome. You left your lightsaber on. I did. I did. It's a couple of things going on right now, right? Of course, I'm still messing around with the backdrop, like what I put behind me, all that kind of stuff. But I got this new lens filter, and it's supposed to give lights that like glow effect, or that like I don't know how else to say it other than glow effect. But you see how it's kind of hazy around the lights? That's what it does. Where if here, I might as well show you. If I take it off, see they're kind of just like regular. There's no like blur to the lights. So we have like off, on, off, on. See? So I kind of wanted to see how it looked. So that's why I left the light back there. Amazon had a deal for a bunch of different lens filters to have different effects. And I was like, oh, I'll buy a couple of these and try them different things. I used a couple of them in the promo pictures for the new merch, nerdaffiliated.com. So hopefully you enjoyed those pictures. But that's one of the reasons why that's back there. I just wanted to see what it looked like with this filter on. JB in the house. Good to see you. Did I say hi to you already? I don't remember. I'll say hi again. I don't care. What day is it? Where am I? Who am I? Why am I here? How did I get here? Accurate. That's the lore. It is. I like your inspirational music in the beginning of the show. It is uplifting. Um, yeah. Yeah. It's like part of the routine, right? Like, it sounds silly to say that, but like the theme song is not often that you get a different theme song. It's usually like an anime thing, right? Like, or for example, right now, we're watching White Lotus, and which I don't talk about on the show. I don't know. Do you guys watch White Lotus? Like, should I be talking about White Lotus and like Severance, for example? Like, do you guys watch those shows? Severance is probably a little bit more on brand for the channel, but I feel like White Lotus isn't. But let me know. Music. So American TV shows pretty much have the same theme song throughout. Exceptions I could think of right now: Saved by the Bell, when they transitioned from Saved by the Bell to the college years. Kind of a different show, kind of not the same, a different show, but they changed the theme song. And White Lotus, every season, different country, different theme song. Same, like, it's gonna sound stupid. Same theme, but like different instruments, and it's trying to like play to the culture of the scene they're in or the country they're in. But it's still different season to season. So it's really anime that I think we would all watch, that does do different songs as you go season to season, sometime arc to arc. But I like the music, so it's hard for me to say I want to get rid of it. It is my cousin. Awesome. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, we are doing it live. Awesome. Great. It's a dream sequence. It's all a dream. Yeah. If this is real life, then it's a terrible dream. I'll say that. Gonna get that new merch. Love that. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Crazy show. I watched the first season of White Lotus. You have to continue. You need to continue. All good. The theme music is woven into the show. Exactly. Yeah, White Lotus. Oh, Knight Rider and Airwolf also changed. All right, all right. Knight Rider to Knight Rider 2000. Different theme songs. Airwolf, I didn't watch enough Airwolf to know if it was a different theme song. You'll have different opening cinematics to shows, right? So like I could remember Knight Rider as it went on, as David Hasselhoff got older. The intro visuals change as new action sequences happen. They change. In Baywatch, for example, the characters change out so often that they update the video, even though the song's the same. So, it does happen from time to time, but not like where the whole song changes. So, yeah. Patrick says, I'm one episode into White Lotus. Into the current season or into season one? Into season one. So if you have not watched, take a drink, everybody.
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer,
So good.
more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
If you've not watched White Lotus, you should. Into the whole show. All right. So something that's been happening with a lot of shows now, and then I'll do the plugs, and then we'll go on from there. What happens with a lot of like crime shows these days is they're doing the Columbo thing, where you see the murder happen in the beginning of the episode or beginning of the season. In the case of White Lotus, you're seeing that a murder has happened, but unlike Columbo and unlike a lot of other shows that have been coming out, you don't see who did it. So you're going through the show not sure who did the murder. But here's the kicker. And this is, it could be conceived as a spoiler, but I really don't think it is. The kicker with White Lotus is there is no designated murderer in the show in any season, nor is there any reason for you to believe there's a murderer in the show in any season. So you're kind of just watching these characters, and as the viewer, you know somebody's going to eat it, but you don't know who because there's no reason for it, right? Like things aren't happening where you're like, oh, this, a murder has to happen because of the story. Like there's no like insurance scam. There's no, oh, this factory was gonna open, but then murder happened. Like none of that happens. People are literally living their lives, being pieces of shit. Because everybody in White Lotus, for the most part, is a piece of shit. That's the intention. So you have these pieces of shit living together that don't know each other, meet each other at this place, and then a murder happens. But it happens like at the end, and you see it. So White Lotus is great. Current season, slow to start. A bunch of us are talking about it in the chat. Current season, slow to start. Definitely has been getting better. One of the things I love is, as a Real Housewife fan, you guys usually make fun of me for that, but as a Real Housewife fan of that universe, one of the families in this season, the characters are based on characters from the Real Housewife adjacent franchise. So that part's kind of fun to watch. And that's why certain characters have certain accents. So there's that. T3 says, I am 9 p.m. this Monday. And then Man Collects is on Tuesday, RG on Wednesday of next week. Look at that. Full roster. Full roster. Love that. And you also want to talk about Doomsday and why Tom Holland is not in the spoiler of who's casted. All right, yeah, we'll do that. Oh, I see where you're going. I don't think it changed. I just like those two theme songs. And the beginning, old Battlestar Galactica. What changed was Space 1999 from season 1 to season 2. Yeah, I got you. I follow now. I follow. So let's do the shameless plugs, and then we'll go into some Marvel conversation. Where am I going? Oh, I'm over here. Here we go. Nerd Affiliated on Instagram. That's your spot to find a lot of our memes in real time, a lot of news in real time. We're also now on Threads under Nerd Affiliated. The new Facebook page launched. So if you can follow the new Facebook page, I would greatly appreciate that. I have to update that link down below, actually. So we have a new Facebook page. We have Threads. We're here on Instagram. And of course, we're on TikTok. The same. If you are into more of the Ghostbusters side of things, there is the Real Nerdbusters on Instagram. So that's where you're going to find more of the Ghostbuster themed content. So make sure you check that out. And then, of course, you have the website for both Real Nerdbusters and Nerd Affiliated. But if you are into Ghostbuster cosplay, I'm officially an ambassador now for Tools and Talent Props. So you can head over there, get yourself some cool mods for your Proton Pack, for your cosplay. Use code HeyArcher at checkout. So boom. Spoiler alert. It is not one of those like paid affiliate things where I'm telling you to do it and it's because I get a cut of you buying things. It's actually not the case. I'm actually just a fan, and I was honored to be asked to be an ambassador. So if you go there, I make no extra for it, but I would appreciate it if you go there because I love their mods, and I think you will too. So make sure you check out Tools and Talent Props over on Instagram. Okay, so Amy asked for Daredevil first, so I'll do that, and then we'll go to Doomsday. And then Marsha asked, "Did you watch Reunion for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?" The first episode. I don't think the second one has dropped yet. Do you want to talk about Real Housewives too? Like, should I talk about that on the stream? I'll go in order. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna star that. Gonna star that. If there's topics to talk about, I'm gonna star them, and then I'm gonna go back. Actually, I don't need to star Daredevil because we're gonna do that right now. I will star them and then go back to them after the fact. T3 said, just not, maybe me just now confirming from Entertainment Earth that Marvel Legends Spider-Man 3 figure is a correct price of $37.99. We'll talk about that too. I'll bundle that. I'll give you guys a tariff deal. I'll bundle that conversation of Spider-Man into the conversation about Maximum Incredible Hulk. We'll do that. And last but not least of the plugs, make sure you guys hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. Okay, so heading over to Daredevil for the first topic of the evening. Episode 7 dropped this week. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Now, tariff talk. Yeah, I'll start that too. So I'm gonna maintain my stance. I said this on Dre and Dave's podcast this last week. Make sure you check out the Outer Dimensions podcast. I was a guest last Friday. I mentioned that I didn't want to talk spoilers about the show. I may have said it here on this show as well, but I didn't want to talk full spoilers of Daredevil because I still feel like there's a lot of you out there who are not watching the show. And it could be for a couple different reasons. I do know that there are some of you out there, like Drenel Kenobi, for example, who has mentioned before he wants to wait for it to finish so he can watch the whole thing. I just feel like spoilers are going to come out of the show. Like, there's no way to avoid those. So if you want to watch Daredevil and you just haven't started Daredevil, you should. Trust me, you should. But episode 7 dropped this week. 4 out of 5. We're back to classic Netflix Daredevil, where every episode there's action. Like, we're back in that rotation. We had like 2 episodes maybe in the season, or 1.5, where we didn't have a lot of action. This one, fist to face, knee to face, that whole jam's happening, and it was great. It was great. Like, I won't spoil it once again, but what's crazy to me is there are people out there who are still saying that the show's not good. And you can see there was a comment there. I don't understand the hate. And I'm not quite sure what they're looking at. Anybody who's saying that the show's not great. I think if anything, the show is boring because every episode's good. And I think a challenge that Daredevil's going to have going into the next season, because they're already filming the next season. We've seen those screenshots online. And to Legacy's point, he was on last week. Those behind the scene photos from Daredevil, those things last week were flowing like hotcakes. So if Marvel didn't want you to see them, they weren't trying very hard to cover up the set. So he made a really good point there. But I feel like the show is almost too good that people are bored, not having something scandalous to talk about. And they're kind of like skipping it. So, continue with the show, start the show if you haven't. But I am most concerned about next season into what will they do differently. Because this season is another example of Murdoch gives it up. He's like, I'm not going to be Daredevil anymore. And then he's convinced to come back and be Daredevil. Unlike other seasons, it happens midway where he comes back, which is great. But we've seen that 2 other times. You guys can correct me if anything. So next season, I hope we're not doing that again. So I'm curious to see how they get creative with the show. If anything, that's my only complaint right now. It's how do you how do you make next season different and continue to improve from what we've seen before when it comes to the season. A complaint I have about this current season, it was the only episode I think I gave under like a 4. If I can find that, as the cat goes nuts outside the door right now. Uh, Episode 4, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Oh God, I just had a thought as to why I gave it a 3 out of 5. But the cat is like at the door, like so it's like throwing me off. Um, this one I got a 3 out of 5. I think because I felt it was too much filler, but filler with no action. So that's why episode 4 got that. But also, I'm gonna spoil this because it was, again, this was everywhere. This was the episode where Punisher came in, and I felt like Punisher was in for the sake of like I mean, again, this was like predetermined. It wasn't like, oh, because of viewership blank. But I feel like this was the episode they put Punisher in to say like, hey, we got Punisher in the show, and put that in the trailers. But he didn't do anything, and he's not done anything for the sake of the story. So this right now is the only episode that I gave it this low of a score. I still thought the dialogue was great. I thought the development of the story was great, but a lack of action and Punisher being wasted is why this one got a 3 out of 5. But I'm gonna maintain. I'm not gonna talk any more spoilers about it because I think a lot of you who might be listening still have not started it. And it's a shame. It's a shame. You should. You should. All right, let me catch up on the comments about Daredevil. Daredevil is amazing. What? It's amazing. Yeah. Daredevil is what I wanted from Marvel. Yep. I need for Marvel to give Daredevil their own movie. Um, I did a clip or a short that I dropped from last week's conversation, and I'm going to say it again for anybody who wasn't here last week. I think that Marvel is prime and ready for a reboot. And if they're not going to reboot, we need to do the Elseworld thing, because Marvel as a company is at this point in time is trying to replicate Infinity War and Endgame. They saw how much money was made. They saw how on the other end of that things went into the toilet, and they're like, we need to just do that again. We need to get another Endgame. We need to get another Infinity War. However, people have left and said they're not coming back. Robert Downey Jr. apparently did have a price, and he's coming back for Doomsday. We can't. There's no way they're going to be able to go to the well continuously for that, because casual fans that do not watch everything, Captain America is Chris Evans, Iron Man is Robert Downey Jr., and that's it. Nobody, you can't recast those people. Done deal. Captain America, Brave New World proved that. A mantle pass in the MCU as it currently exists will not work in the way that, even Miles Morales worked in the comic books and in Spider-Verse, because they sort of did a mantle pass and then kind of took it back, and they have them running in parallel. But mantle passing for casual fans on the level of MCU is just not going to be a thing. It cannot be a thing. People will not accept it. So I feel like we need to get to a point where they're either going to reboot things, or similar to what DC is doing right now. DC has the Gunverse, and then separately from that, they have established the Pattinson-verse / Penguin-verse. Like, that's its own kind of world. And then Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, Superman, we're calling that the Gunverse, even though he hates that name. I don't know why. So I say all that because with Daredevil, I, in a way, do not want him to have a movie, because if the movie's good, the only logical direction for them is we need to make it bigger to try to get to another Infinity War or Endgame. And I don't want them to bring back these characters. So at this point, I'm like, let him continue. Bring back the Defenders. Let's get Luke Cage back in here. Jessica Jones back in here. Hell, at this point, I'm willing to give Iron Fist a chance after the video he dropped the other day. You bring them back in, do that show, and then proceed from there. But I just don't want there to be a movie, because then the studio's going to be like, if there's a movie, we need the Avengers. And at the moment, Black Widow, Captain America, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, none of them are trying to come back. So, and it won't work. So that's kind of why I feel that way. Yeah, the fur babies. I promise I'm not watching out of want, hoping to correct that this weekend. There you go. You should never be scared of your cat with something. I just scared of cats with some Mattel Jurassic World dinosaurs for making them roar. That's funny. Finishing season 3 of the original series. Now, is this your first watch through? Because I know that you didn't. We talked about Spider-Man animated series, Batman animated series, but I do not remember where you fell on Daredevil. So please remind me. Just gonna see if I can move this. Agreed. Yeah. It's a tough sell, like Marvel, I give Marvel crap. We all give Marvel crap, but at the moment they are in a lose-lose situation with a lot of these things. If you acknowledge all the TV shows and all the movies, people will go into this thing, and they will go into anything lost. Just absolutely lost. If you don't acknowledge that stuff, then the people who are hardcores feel like they missed out and that what they watched was worthless. The only time I think it really worked out was when we had Captain America, Winter Soldier running in parallel to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was out already. It was established that it was in the same world. They were on the street level as the Avengers were up in the sky fighting sky creatures and all that stuff. And then you had an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing their thing. The Winter Soldier movie came out. Next week's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the world was upside down because of the events of Winter Soldier. So it encouraged you, if anything, to go watch the movie, but you weren't penalized for not really seeing the movie because you kind of know what's happening. However, if you didn't even watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that whole thing happened, didn't affect you at all. And if you're an MCU watcher, it didn't affect you either because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was its own thing. So to me, that's the only time it's ever worked. And that's how they should continue to do it. But because they don't have Avengers, they're going to have to try to force Avengers into this or into something. Unless they unexpectedly pass in real life, then you recast. Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. is going to bring his A game for Doctor Doom, though. Geek Strong in the House of Strong. It's good to see you. Yeah, so let's talk about Doomsday. We'll go into that. I don't believe I actually posted about Doomsday. Oh, I did. I'm a liar. I'm a liar. So I posted this meme about Avengers Doomsday. I don't care. I'm not going to lie. I don't care. And here's the thing. Here's the reason. By the way, Geek Strong, your video has me tempted to buy the Jaws action figure or the game. I don't care about the Avengers movie coming out. I do not care about Doomsday. And I think a lot of it has to do with doing YouTube and doing podcasting, because we talk about the news, we talk about behind the scenes, we talk about, something's announced and doesn't happen, this, that, blah, blah. So because this is like the 5th time they're trying to do an Avengers movie, I'm like, all right, you guys are desperate. And already I don't trust this movie. And then the fact that they're bringing in all of these characters, I don't trust the movie. Something's off. But here's the thing. This movie could very well be the reboot point. It could be we're going to do Elseworld thing. Fantastic Four is potentially another universe that they're starting. We don't know that for sure, but the fact that they're existing in a modern day New York and we've not seen them in anything so far makes me think they're like another universe type thing. Loki's already been doing the acknowledgement of other worlds, other planets, other universes. Spider-Man did that. So, maybe this is the one that kicks that whole concept off and Marvel continues, but on a new world. If that's the case, I'll care about this movie. I'll care about it. But so far, they haven't built up to this. I don't even know what phase we're in right now. Phase 6, maybe phase 7. I don't fully remember. So I do not care. I do not care at all about this movie. What I'm hoping does not happen, and this is many people have brought this up, and Amy, you mentioned the fact that Peter Parker's not announced, aka Tom Holland. I don't want this to be a scenario where they mess with the Doctor Doom character and make him have a heart. I don't want Doctor Doom to be in this movie and they're like on the ropes, and then whoever the Avengers are in this movie break out Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and he's like, Tony, I thought you were dead. And then Doctor Doom is like, oh, Peter. And it's because like in his universe, he had a Peter who died, like I don't want them to pull that shit. And I feel like they would. I feel like it's fully in their ability to be like Doctor Doom's winning, but in his universe, his Peter Parker died. And he's going to see our universe Peter Parker. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. And then, that's what I feel is going to happen. So he's not announced. Tom Holland's not in the movie as of now, but best believe they still want to surprise us with things. So Tom Holland showing up. Maybe Captain America does come back. I don't know. There's a couple others who haven't appeared. Maybe they kick off Blade in this movie. Marcella whatever appears, possible. But the fact that it's next year coming out, they're desperate. They're desperate, and it's not a financial thing. If with a company like Disney, when it comes to Marvel, we talk about the numbers all the time. It's not a like, hey, we're and I tell you guys all the time, don't watch any of the like fandom menace bullshit. Oh, Disney's running scared. Star Wars is scared. They're going woke, going broke. None of them are going broke. None of them are going broke. We can look at the numbers all day. I've shown them to you. All the Marvel movies make money. So this is not a scenario where they're doing Marvel Avengers Doomsday because they're about to lose the license. That's not what's happening. It's an ego thing. They're like, why is it we cannot do another one of these things? We need to do this. We need to win. That's why it's happening. It's not we're on the ropes. They're on the ropes as far as like relevance, but they're not on the ropes financially. Like Marvel Studios isn't going to shut down. So take that and run with it as you consume content about Marvel and the Avengers and all that stuff. I'm not paying attention to Doomsday the same way you don't pay attention to a game to load faster. Yeah. Is Avengers Doomsday is going to coast over with Fantastic Four? Oh, crossover. Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't be surprised. Fantastic Four looks like trash. I don't disagree with that. That trailer did nothing as well. Nothing. I felt more watching the Daredevil trailer and I got excited for the show. And I felt a lot more watching the original Thunderbolt trailers, but now they're dropping a lot of Thunderbolt stuff. They're giving away too much, so I'm starting to not trust Thunderbolts is going to be good either. Thunderbolts is right now the next movie I plan on watching in theaters. So we'll see. But if I see Fantastic Four, it's only going to be because people are like, you need to see this. But I feel like even for the sake of this channel, I don't need to see it. Uh, Captain America proved that, and what was the other one I saw? Maybe it was Alien Romulus because it took me a while to see that too. Where I was like, oh, for these like super nerdy movies where I used to feel obligated to go see them so I could review them right away on the channel, it's not necessary. There's so many reviews out there at this point. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Hell, for you, the toy collectors in the room, Shartimus Prime. I was thinking about it the other day. Shartimus Prime, he'll review something that's like 3 months old, still gets a bunch of views. So it's not about who's faster with that kind of stuff anymore. It's you build your fan base, and when you drop your review, you drop the review. If you want to wait till it's on home release to do your review, do that. It. I no longer feel obligated to see it unless there's like some wild ass, reveal, and people are like, oh, you need to see it before it's spoiled for you. Like, and that hasn't happened in a long ass time. Not enough to make me go to the theater. I agree. Marvel gets views even when people dislike it. People dislike it after they already watched it, so Disney wins. Yeah, you know me. I'm gonna pull up the spreadsheet. It always signs me out. I always get signed out of Google just as I'm about to do this show. I'll log into this thing all the time. No issues. I do the show, I get logged out. It's ridiculous. Okay, here we go. Let's do franchise. Oh no, it's not franchise. Studio. Comic studio. That's what it is. All right, switching over. All right. So I have all the Marvel movies here as far as I believe. If I'm missing one, please feel free to call it out. Red is going to be where Red's going to be, it wasn't profitable in its theatrical release based on our estimates. As a reminder, to get your estimate, you take your budget, you double it because that's the rule of two when it comes to marketing, and you see if it makes that number according to Box Office Mojo and other reports. The reason I give that asterisk about theatrical is I don't know how distribution works as far as like them making money on DVD, streaming, and all that stuff. So very well, you can have an example of the Incredible Hulk where it, you know, by our estimate, failed theatrically, could have killed it in DVDs, killed it on streaming, and then it turned out it was way more profitable than the next movie. So this is strictly on a theatrical thing. So looking here, even up to 2016, there was only 4 fails. Hulk, which wasn't great, the Eric Bana movie. Elektra, nobody asked for that movie. The Incredible Hulk wasn't bad, but at that point, people were kind of just like, about the Hulk movies because of the previous one. And then you have Fantastic Four, which at that point, 2015 is the reboot, I believe, because you had Fantastic Four, and then 2015. That's the Michael B. Jordan one, I believe. So yeah, that one not do well. So you only had 4 misses, and 1, 2, potentially 3 out of the 4 were Fox. So, there's that. Now you get into the post Avengers Endgame world, and there's a couple more red ones here. But again, Fox movie, Dark Phoenix, New Mutants, Fox movie, Black Widow, that was a COVID, theatrical and home release at the same time. Movie also sucked in my opinion. So there's that. Eternals. I don't know. Eternals at this point, I'm starting to become a sympathizer for it, but it still didn't fit into anything. So I don't know why they did it. Then you got Marvels. That's a huge one. Craven Hunter is Sony. Madam Web is Sony. And Spider-Verse hasn't come out yet. So they hit. We could shit on all these movies. We could shit on Thor: The Dark World. Where are you? Oh, there's Silver Surfer. Look at that. Profited $304 million. So it doesn't matter. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And at the moment, all these Marvel movies hit. So Doomsday, with them bringing back the Russo brothers, it's not because they're hurting for money. It's they don't like seeing this, and their egos are hurt. So that's why it's happening. Simple. Next up on the list, I'll make it quick. Marsha probably already left because I know you wake up early. I saw episode 1 of the current season reunion show. Wife and I watched it yesterday. Pretty good. It's still not my favorite of all the housewife shows, but it's up there. It is very up there. Just started Atlanta from the first season, and I skipped a bunch. Loving Atlanta. What I'm toying with, and you guys can let me know if you are interested in this. I'm toying with actually doing some sort of like season by season or episode by episode review / watch along for Real Housewives of New Jersey, because I've never seen that. So again, the algorithm controls a lot of decisions these days. So if I did something like that, I might get a lot of views for it. Maybe I won't, but either way, it throws the algorithm off as to what this channel does. If I start incorporating Real Housewife content into the nerd stuff, it just doesn't know what to do. So, but I'm still toying with the idea because I've become a big fan. I'm telling you guys, Housewife content has been way more entertaining than a lot of comic book stuff up until this point. Boys was good. I just watched that. I need to watch Invincible, but Spider-Man was great. Daredevil's great. So there's that. So let's talk about Spider-Man, and then we'll talk about Incredible Hulk, and we'll go over to some tariff stuff. Yep. Eternals fits in to Brave New World. Yeah, it does. That movie. I bet you I'm going to see that movie and I'm going to like it. I've said that before. But it just had no business being a theatrical release. Rick James, Dave Dimension. Good to see you. Okay, so we had a couple Marvel releases this week over on the Hasbro side. I do want to point out, well, for one, we had this Hot Toy announcement. Looks perfect. Great. What was that? Oh, Henry Resilient in the house. A little something to help with those tariffs. I'm going to need a lot more than that to help with the tariffs. Appreciate you, brother. Always. So we got this Hot Toy announcement this week, a redo of their Daredevil figure. Looks great. This part looks great. On the top, I don't think you guys can see my mouse. Bottom part with the legs and the creases there, that scares me. So that would be something that keeps me away from the figure. But the likeness is awesome. It's great likeness. It's weird. He almost like doesn't look blind, which I think might be a problem. Yeah. Shout out to Henry Resilient. Ultra Card updating on the figures. So yeah, there's that. We had this announcement of Mary Jane becoming the new Venom. And this was the conversation I had with you guys just now about, do you appease the casuals or not? Because here's the thing. Comic books are currently on their way out. We hate to admit it. They're currently on the way out. Could they come back? Sure. Look at freaking Pokemon cards and print material like that having a resurgence. So it's very possible comics could somehow become popular and people start collecting them. Hell, comic books are going to be cheaper than action figures, so maybe we start doing that. But ultimately, comics are on their way out and they're throwing Hail Marys like this. Anthony can probably do a whole video on it. He mentioned in the chat the reasons why this doesn't make any sense. I agree with him. But here's the thing. You can either try to win over some casuals or not. Doing a series where she's Venom, maybe some random cosplay girls are like, oh, that's so cool. Let me do that costume. Let me pick up, stuff to make a cosplay out of it. Maybe some nerds are like, oh, that's dope. That'd be a great action figure. Let me pick up the comic book so I know the backstory. Like that's all they're hoping for at this point. Because otherwise, nobody's reading these on a regular basis for the sake of reading these. It's just not happening. It's not happening. So I don't blame them for doing stuff like this. Why not? At this point, why not? Just go for it. Just go for it. Yeah, physical comics are on the way out. Yeah, wasn't MJ her own superhero 10 minutes ago? Probably. And Anthony was saying how it doesn't make sense that she would be Venom because she like despises Eddie Brock and the Venom. So, but like I said, they're just throwing shit to the wall and seeing what sticks. So, hey, let's see if a cover of Mary Jane being Venom pushes a couple extra. Maybe they would hope for a couple extra thousand. I'm inclined to say a couple extra hundred. Also, they're doing themselves no favors, apparently. I thought if you had like the digital app to read comic books, that you would get them in the same time as print. Apparently, there's a couple month delay between when something comes out on print and when they put it on the digital app. You can't put toothpaste back in the tube. And as I'll mention, probably with tariffs to end the show, some motherfuckers always want to ice skate uphill. There you go. There you go. I was working my way up to this. So this week, the Marvel Legends team did a live stream. I thought it was pretty good. People apparently thought it was trash, is what it is. But when they were showing off this, what do you call it? It was a sample, but there's a toy phrase for it. But when they had the sample Daredevil of the figure coming out, this dude over on the Legends team used this red stick to like point to things. Didn't use it for the rest of the stream, only when he was talking about Daredevil. And I was like, oh, is Marvel Legends coming out with their own Billy Club or Billy Clubs? So you can do your Daredevil cosplay? Maybe. Or maybe he got these red sticks, but really what's coming out is a Marvel Legends Daredevil helmet. Who knows? But if this is the Billy Club, I think the girth is too big, which I made in the comments. Or maybe was it? Yeah, not sold on the girth. I don't like them. But hey, if they're doing that, by all means, continue. I'm all for Marvel Legends trying to be different and thinking outside the box, where it's role play items, become a thing. So yeah, I mean, hell, I bought this walking stick for the pictures for all of $6. Same thing's gonna cost like $100 now. So that's how it is. So here. We got the announcement and the pre-order window of the Marvel Legends Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire, Billy Maguire, right? What do they call him? Tobey Billy or Bully Maguire. He's in his emo phase here. It's cool, Spider-Man 3, very niche. I don't feel like saying it's a cult classic because I feel like nobody likes that movie. But $30 for this figure. It's a stretch. Yeah, Bully Maguire, thank you. It's a stretch. is a stretch. But apparently on Entertainment Earth, which is a reseller for Marvel, they actually upped it a whole $8 to 37. So that's going to be a trend. It's going to be a trend because Marvel was probably giving people deals if as to authorize resellers. As a fact, I know they did that because I was watching a behind the scenes video with Bits and Buttons down there in Florida. They were doing YouTube for a while with the help of Seth and Dom, who owns the store. He was like, as a seller of toys, you never pay retail. Never pay retail. So, and he gets stuff by the case. So he's an authorized seller of Marvel Legends from Hasbro. So Hasbro probably sells it to them for a discount. It just makes sense. Sell it to a reseller at a discount, so that way they could sell it for MSRP and get a profit. Simple economics. But if Entertainment Earth now is selling for $8, something's awry. Something's up. Either Hasbro's already pushing them, or they're seeing it in their shipping costs for things, and they're scared. Time for refill. But I'm not picking that figure up. No desire. Of the Runner Hudson whiskey today. Of all the things that were announced last week, maybe I get the Weapon X Wolverine. But I think that's it. Even though I thought it was a good stream, that might be it. But let's go over to the new Maximum release that was just announced. Maximum Hulk. And let's see. We're here on Toy Shiz. Here we go. So just announced, and they are in between a rock and a hard place. They truly are. Not a good time to be a toy collector. Not a good time to be a toy collector. Not a good time to be a toy manufacturer, toy producer, toy importer. None of that stuff. Now, the Marvel Legends team in the comment section of the premiere confirmed that this would be $60. Somehow this is $60, but the Spider-Man was $50. Don't know how that works, but that's where we are. And of the complaints so far, this is a Maximum Series Hulk demanding maximum price, and yet the lower half is all reuse with pins, with the exception of the feet and the toes being new because there's a there's a toe break here. So that is new. The torso has a soft plastic so that he can do almost the clap. But then it turns out that a figure with this rubber torso already existed as well. So technically that's reuse. Comes with a rocket for some reason, and this evil look on his face. Don't know why. So you get 3 heads, 3 very distinctly different heads. These don't look like they're the same character. They're just Green Hulks, but they don't look like the same version. You get 3 of those. You get 3 sets of hands and a rocket that comes apart, and then the smash effect. $60. I don't. It's not for me. It's not for me. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think this. I don't think that this Hulk figure will sell like the Spider-Man figure. I don't think it's going to get as much buzz as the Spider-Man figure because people are like, Maximum Series Spider-Man was a shock to the system. At this point, it's like, right, we know. Maybe if they priced it at $100, you would have seen some people being up in arms about it and all upset. But ultimately, I don't think anybody really cares. Like, it's a Hulk. If you don't have one, I don't have one. Maybe you can buy this one, but I'm not inclined at all to buy this. I don't have. There's no space in my collection for a Hulk figure I was gonna buy the Red Hulk on sale, but he was sold at a Target when they did their sale last week. Ultra Carter says, not giving pinless joints, double jointed elbows. Yes, right. No double jointed elbows. And not having a more neutral expression for the expression head for the Maximum Edition Hulk is a crime. Yeah. It's very bizarre. It's a very bizarre release. And in fact, looking at it, I would say this was like a Red Hulk head. If you told me that was Red Hulk with that expression, I'd believe you. This Red Hulk, I would believe you. But this here looks like a lot of, hey, we need to do another one. What can we just grab and put together that already exist? That's what this looks like. That's what it looks like. Should be a regular release, if anything. These heads do not match. I'm sorry. These three are not from the same Hulk. The fact that I don't care about the pins is such, and more like the aesthetic means I'm the problem. I also don't need it because I have one of my SHF Avenger collections. All right, cool. Rolando in the house. Good to see you. He said I got the 4-inch Red Hulk at GameStop for $10. Oh, jealous. Legacy of Nerd in the house. Good to see you. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about that too. I was listening to Articulated Ninja talk about this figure earlier, and he's like, nothing about this is Ultimate. In my head, I was like, well, it has a toe joint, which obviously means you got to charge more. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Love that. So yeah. Could care less. Could absolutely care less about that. Does nothing for me. Yeah. I don't know. I feel bad for these companies. I truly do. We'll end the show talking about my rant on the tariffs, and we'll call it a day. There's a bunch of other news that came out. RIP Val Kilmer, of course. We got our first full costume look at Sentry from Thunderbolts. I don't know why they announced that. I feel like if you're a casual person, maybe you still don't understand what's happening, so it's not a spoiler for you. But I feel like Marvel's just giving away the whole movie. Spider-Man Spider-Verse 3 officially announced for 2027. It's crazy. So yeah, a couple other things. So I'm gonna play this video here real quick, because I think it's important, and I know it might be boring, but I think it's important. As collectors, as toy hunters, I feel like I don't even know how to phrase this segment. Don't know how to phrase it. So price is important to us, right? Price is what gets us to say we're going to complete a wave. We're not going to complete a wave. Does it fit our collection? Does it not fit our collection? Is it worth army building? Is it non-army building? Like that, all of that is due to price, supply and demand. And we have had our fair share of, we're going hog wild for toys. We can't find anything. All of a sudden they flood the market. Too many. I don't need it. All of a sudden they're all at Ollie's. And then the cycle continues. Just does this. Unfortunately, what I think is going to happen now is we're going to get priced out of collecting to the extent that we're not going to really have this hobby as we know it. It just won't happen. And I'm going to play this clip, and I'm still inclined to do a full video on this. So I'll try to be somewhat brief, but I'm gonna play this clip from Yahoo Finance. You guys know I love the numbers, and I'll talk about it a bit.
We could. It would probably be on
The question was, can you build Optimus Prime in America?
the order of 50% more expensive.
So this video goes out to all the nerds out there who are, for some odd reason, you might be happy about tariffs. Don't click away yet. Talking to you nerds, especially collectors who, like myself, like to buy this stuff. A lot of people are talking about the jobs will come back here. Why not just make the toys? Why are my lips so red? Here. If you think that's going to happen in a positive way, you're wrong. You'll see in this video that he's asked, like, can you bring toy manufacturing back here? And it turns out they do make some stuff, not what you may think. But we're in the automation age. So even if it does come back and we're starting to build in house, these factories are not going to appear overnight. And that's just Hasbro. I can't even, I'm not even thinking about like a ramen toy, for example, a small business that is trying to make cool stuff at a reasonable price. TKO'd. So here's a clip. Longer video will be on my YouTube channel. Hopefully you enjoy this. This is from Yahoo Finance, Brian Sazi, Chris Cox from Hasbro. Boom. And, you know, one of the other companies I thought about, I just don't know enough about them, like Four Horsemen, right? There's different angles to this. If you don't know, if you somehow live under a rock, currently the market's in a spiral because there's going to be tariffs across the board on everything that we import, everything. And, you know, I said this in that clip and then I edited it out because I thought the clip was too long, but something that everybody should know, and I'm gonna talk as though certain people are in this chat. I know they're not, but certain people are in this chat that think that what Trump is doing is absolutely amazing. What he has been doing is absolutely amazing. I'm going to talk to all of you. That's how I'm going to gear this. If you don't know, and actually here's another if you don't know, I used to work in import-export. I actually went to Maritime College. I got my degree in shipping. I worked on ships for about a year and a half. And then I went landside and did import-export. Very boring job. Very boring job. In fact, I believe that job probably is automated by now. At this point, if it's not automated, it's because they somehow unionized and made it so that for you to do import export and log things, you have to have a person there. Otherwise, at this point with AI, it's a completely automated job. Nonetheless, what I used to do, what my job was, is the company I worked for was they were licensed professional importers. What does that mean? You order things from overseas and they get here via ship. Very rarely do you order things and they come here via air. Air is very expensive. There's only so much you can, fly with, whatever. So usually it's by sea. I was actually working, the account that I was assigned to was actually Party City. It was Party City. So I remember my first day when I was told this is your account, these are the ones you're going to be working with. I was like, oh, I'm legit responsible for like coconut bras and hula skirts coming into America. I felt very excited. Very cool. Very fun. Turns out it was a very boring job. Very tedious job. So my job back then was Party City would say, hey, these are the shipments coming in. I go, cool. I'm going to look at them. And my job is to identify what is it and how does the US government classify this item. So, for example, let's say I thought this was empty. Let's say this was a fake can of Mountain Dew. So it's not real. Plastic can for parties or whatnot, make believe. So I will look and say, okay, this is a can. I go to the tariff book, essentially. I don't remember the exact name, but I'll call it that. I go to the tariff book and I go to the section that is like party favors. And then it's like party favors. Is it edible? No. Is it um, for kid? No. Is it, you kind of go down this list. And then eventually you find what is its classification. So that can under code this dash this colon this dash this, that's what the can applies to. Um, this is how it's classified as. Therefore, you put a 5% tax on it. So you were doing that. That's literally the job. What is that? What is it classified as? And then you apply tax to it. Then the company, right? And it might be different now, but if I remember correctly, it was so long ago. As a company, I was telling them, okay, this shipment has X amount of this. This is a percentage. Therefore, this is what we're paying that Party City is going to pay us back for. We're fronting the money to make sure it gets through customs, no issue, so that way they can collect it and be able to go to a distribution center, therefore sell it at your local Party City. RIP. I saw you guys post that in the comments. So that tax was a tariff. That's a tariff. That's what I was literally classifying things for the sake of tariff. And the company was paying up front to be reimbursed by Party City. Party City based out of America. Not the company who made the can. Not the manufacturer, not the factory in China that produced it. I wasn't taxing them. I was passing that tax to Party City. Who the hell do you think Party City passes that tax on to? That's how tariffs work. That's how tariffs work. It actually pisses me off that like people listen to that man talk about how tariffs work and nobody ever bothers to just be like, how do tariffs work? We don't have to be part of the issue that pisses me off about people who idolize Trump and people who are MAGA right now is information is literally has never been easier for you to say, I wonder if that's legit. And why don't I look at more than one source? The tariff one is the easiest one of them all. The tariff one is literally not even an opinion. You just have to Google what is a tariff and how does it work? And it tells you. We're going to do that right now. What is a tariff? It's a duty imposed by the government of a country or customs territory or by a supranational union on imports of goods. Besides being a source of revenue, import duties can also be a form of, it's going to say regulation there, imposed by the government of a country or customs territory or by a supranational union on imports. Imports. Simple term. A tariff is a tax imposed on goods when they are imported, brought into a country, and it's often used to protect domestic industries or as a tool in trade negotiations. Key phrase here, imported. When it gets here. Who do you pass that on to? The company that is doing that. So here's a scenario where maybe, this is a maybe. Here's a scenario where maybe, how does a tariff hurt a country? If this can is made by China, sold by a company in China, and that company does not even have any connection to the United States, they are purely in China selling it to us, and we charge them the import tax, maybe you could say it hurts them. But they're still going to raise the price to offset it. And who pays for it? The person buying the product. Simple. It is fucking simple. fucking simple. Easy. So there are people in this toy community and just in life who are like, no, the tariffs are good. I watched a video today. I won't say his name. I watch it out of pure entertainment. I watched a video where they're like, yeah, they've been throwing tariffs at us. So now we're like, we're doing reciprocal tariffs and we're doing tariffs on them. Seems pretty straightforward. Okay. Sure. Just Google how it works. But the other side of the argument that to me is utterly ridiculous is what Brian Cox here is going to talk about. And people believe that what he's saying, he being Trump, is accurate. That if we raise the tariffs enough, a company is going to be so disincentivized to produce overseas, they're going to just have to produce here. I was immediately thinking of the movie Mr. Mom. Do you guys remember Mr. Mom? Michael Keaton, throwback. I believe that came out before Batman. And people, when they found out he was gonna be Batman, they were like, "Really, the Mr. Mom guy?" So in Mr. Mom, he gets laid off because the factory ends up being shut down so they can produce overseas. I don't remember. I truly don't remember the ending. I feel like he goes back, and somehow there's like a happy ending involved in that. But literally, the factory's getting shut down because a Japanese company is going to just produce it or I think they were Japanese. Maybe they're supposed to be Chinese. I don't remember. It's been so long. That's literally about the thing. So a misconception I have here, and then I'll get to some comments. A misconception people have is that overseas they're putting 1 and 2 together. So if we bring the job back here, the person's going to just put 1 and 2 together. There's way more to that process than putting 1 and 2 together. And best believe, if it's as simple as putting 1 and 2 together in the year 2025, a robot can do that. And a robot will do that job. You'll pay for an operator. Eventually, the operator might be AI, for all we know. But I'm thinking of 2 different movies. What was the movie where Michael Keaton works in the factory? It's not Mr. Mom? I thought it was Mr. Mom because he gets laid off from the factory. I'm going to look it up real quick, and then we'll finish this clip. It is Mr. Mom, right? Gung Ho. Oh, Gung Ho. When a Japanese automaker or automobile company buys the American plant, it's Gung Ho. Yes. But that's the one where he goes over there, right? He goes to Japan. But Mr. Mom, I think he's here and it gets shut down. Yes. Automotive engineer who becomes a stay-at-home dad and takes care of, yeah. So that's funny. Both movies are him working in a factory, but Gung Ho's when he goes over there to teach them how to run a company and not be assholes. That's funny. 2 different movies though. Yeah. So yeah, let's hear what Chris Cox says. I will, of course, periodically pause for copyright reasons, even though I clipped this one up, but let's take a listen.
It's probably not super realistic that a significant inshoring of production is going to come back to the U.S.
Is it labor? It's just hard. Is it hard to find labor or parts or?
Yeah, I mean, labor is about 6x in the U.S. what you have overseas, but then there's just this like integrated supply chain of all these different component parts, all this that are fully optimized over like 3 decades.
So it's not a misconception. It's all labor costs as far as as an adult, I need to make X amount of money to survive in America versus in China, in India, in Pakistan, I need X amount of money to live. Or not Pakistan, I'm sorry, Vietnam. It's not as simple as that. So that's a factor. It's not the whole thing. One of the things I listened to today, the person was saying, you know, to get to a warehouse in middle America, it will be most likely more effective to transport items via train, via rail. You know, so if you're bringing in tons and tons, let's keep it about toys, bringing in tons and tons of plastic for the sake of injection filling molds to make your Spider-Man figure. You could either truck it, pay that driver, pay the mileage and all that fun stuff, or you can do rail. You can have the driver switch out, the engineer switch out. You can go faster. There's all sorts of positives to rail. A lot of those rail lines may not be operational anymore because those warehouses have not been used 30, 40, 50 years. So it will take time, if anything, to get those rail lines up to date and active again to handle the volume of rail going out to these red states where the factory workers are. You just don't turn that back on. You can't. So let's proceed.
Inside of Southeast Asia, that would just be difficult to replicate in the US. So you could move it back to the US. It would likely take 5 years, and you'd likely have a pretty significant price increase. And you probably wouldn't have a lot of incremental employment because we'd have to really optimize automation.
Can you manufacture toys profitably in the United States?
We do. So a lot of our Magic the Gathering business, which is by far our biggest brand, it's over $1 billion and drives a heck of a lot of our bottom line health. It's made in North Carolina and Texas. We manufacture board games in Massachusetts. So certainly we can do it.
Let's use that example, right? Why do you think those are made here versus elsewhere? It probably doesn't cost them that much to freaking run paper through a machine. It's not a person sitting there printing the paper, putting it on cardboard, cutting it, putting in the plastic aluminum foil or whatever to then put it in a box and have the magic card show up at Target. It's freaking machines. It's literally machines. Yeah, I want to hear that example. So that's why for them, they've spent the time. They may even share factories. It's one of those. They may share. You know, you may have magic cards printed on the same machine as a freaking newspaper or as a magazine. For all we know, that's how it works too. You don't necessarily have a factory dedicated to one product. You probably go to a printer that prints on mass levels and can do variations of stuff. So that's why something like that can be done here. It's not because they want to employ 1,000 people to print magic cards. So it's not going to translate into I can now make an action figure here. It's not how that works.
I think the challenge with manufacturing a lot of toys like action figures and kind of like higher turnover toys. So I think bringing back manufacturing jobs to the US would require us to do very heavy automation, and it would be a pretty heavy lift and take multiple years.
Can you make Optimus in the US?
We could. It would probably be on the order of 50% more expensive.
So there you go. There you go. You can't. What's funny too about the argument people are having, there are people who are like, oh, you should make it here because, you know, there's people overseas that are being treated, you know, like slaves to make the products. And one of the arguments against that is like, since when did you care about that? Or when they're like, oh, they're polluting so much of their countries making tchotchkes for us. And it's like, when did you care about the environment? When did that show up on your list? All of a sudden they care about buying Teslas and electric cars. Since when? Since when? Because people have been crying for years about the environment. You didn't care then, you care now. You don't see how dumb you sound? You don't see how dumb you sound? So when it comes to this, would I prefer that Spider-Man here was made 100% in the United States of America? Yes. I really do. I do wish this Spider-Man was made in the great old USA, and that an American person made a living making these toys. But the truth of the matter is, it is not reasonable, possible, and if they did find a way to actually make it possible, there is no way I'm going to spend $75 on a Marvel Legend figure. At that point, I'm out. At that point, demand drops and companies go out of business. Economics. Economics. That's all it is. That's all it is. So, I feel bad, like you think about, like I said, Ramen Toys, Four Horsemen, Super 7. They might be gone. They might be gone. Because it was tight as is for a lot of them. But then you add 25% to that. And they have to pass it on to you because they're not going to eat it. None of these companies are going to eat it. None of them. None of them. So something I thought of was like, maybe these companies at a certain point. Well, first of all, the best case scenario is none of this shit happens, right? At the end of the day, that's where we're at. That they renege and none of it is a thing anymore. That's really the only best case scenario. Second option is companies start selling files so you can 3D print your own action figures. But you know what's going to cost more to buy now? A fucking 3D printer. You know what's going to cost more to buy now? Filament. We don't make any of that stuff here. We don't. Because it costs too much to make it here. It is what it is. You can't change that. And what's great is that sometimes, a tax and a tariff is not that bad because we give people deals. And because we like you and you support us with things, I'll charge you 2%. I'll charge you 1%. Can you charge me 1%? Great. And we keep it good. We keep it moving. 1% just to have things go in and out. Pause. What doesn't help any of this? 10 baseline. 25 on top of that. So it's all of it. It's all of it. LED lights, computer you're using, the phone you're using. So all these people who are pretending they're all high and mighty and oh yeah, he's saving us all. You guys are freaking sheep, man. Sheep. Especially if this is your hobby. If this is your hobby and you were supporting everything that he said he was going to do and all that stuff, you're a fucking asshole. You are. You are. What was it? 900 jobs today people got furloughed in Canada that make Jeeps and what was the other car company? Like the umbrella company was Stellantis, I think it's called. It's like Chrysler and Jeep. And they had a factory in Canada and 900 people got let go instantly. instantly. Because it don't make sense. It don't make sense. They're not. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. They're not going to eat the cost of the tariff so you can play with Spider-Man at your desk while your kid is fucking watching Bluey on TV. So there's my TED Talk. Let's go to the comments. Best movie, no question. There you go. Patrick says tariffs will be adjusted based on negotiations, but the price will stay in place. The purpose of creating and growing domestic factories have been hinted for the past 10 years, and we're under 50% completion. I also made that last stat up. So here's an example, right? Place it, or sorry, Printify. No, oh God, Printful. There you go. So many that have similar names. Printful, like print and then full, is the company I use to create my merch. So I design my merch via Placeit, via Envato, also, different websites. I'll put together something, and then Printful is the company I use to print the merchandise to sell it. One of the things I like about Printful is they opened up a bunch of factories in America during COVID because they were like, demand is high. Everybody's starting their own business from home, their own Etsy's from home. They're doing all that stuff. So it's going to be easier to get things to our American clients if we have factories in America. But here's the thing. They're not manufacturing the sweatshirt. They're doing the print. They're the screen pressing. They're doing the embroidery, that kind of stuff. But all of the actual textile completed merch is coming in from another factory where it's cheaper to make the t-shirt, the sweatshirt, all of that fun stuff. So that's how you could bring jobs back. You can have things get to a certain point where in America, getting it over the finish line is something you can do at a cost-effective method based on volume. And you work your way up to that. You do tax incentives to build those factories. Tax incentives for having part of the manufacture process happening in the United States. That's how you properly do that. But they've been fighting it for so long, and now they're all of a sudden all about it. And that's why they're like, yeah, we're going to build the factories here. It takes you like 5 years to build a factory from scratch. Guess where that material comes from to build a factory? There's a guy on TV today. He up here in Massachusetts, they do steel. I'm going to say they do steel manufacturing. Like if you need a steel beam, they make you the beam. They don't mine the steel. They don't mine and process the steel so it could then be manipulated to create a steel beam. They receive that material and then create the beam. So you still need somebody else to be part of the process. There's currently a country on this planet that's doing everything in-house. If you guys want to guess where that is. There's a country right now doing everything in-house because they don't want to trade with anybody else. They don't want to do a passing of the, right here, you put this piece on, I'll get this piece, put it on. I'll get this piece, you put it on, boom, final product. It's North Korea. North Korea. They do not want to trade with anybody. They believe you can do it all in-house. You can grow everything. You can manufacture everything. You can do your banking all in-house. F everybody else. Look up some videos on North Korea. Go for it. See how that system works. So, long-winded segment. I guess the whole show is generally long-winded, but you're going to say Jamaica. There's certain products they grow in Jamaica, but it's wild. The people, I think what's made me most upset about the people who want to roll MAGA is, what was I'm trying to think. There's a movie. I feel like our whole lives, when you think about the 80s and the 90s, when you think about media, Mr. Mom, and gung ho, you grow up with the knowledge and the understanding that companies are not your friend. Companies are not for you. CEOs are trying to make a profit. It has nothing to do with the goodness of their heart. They're going to do blank. The goodness of their heart, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. Profit, profit, profit. And for some reason, MAGA people think the career CEO is all of a sudden for people and different than what we've understood CEOs in corporate America to be. I don't know why it'd be different now than before. And best believe people around him, if any of these people have any lick of intelligence, these multimillionaires out there that he's buddies with, they are all buying the dip. They're buying all of this stuff at discount. And then if he reneges and all of a sudden it's business back to normal, you just bought all this Apple stock, you bought all this Disney stock, you bought all this Coca-Cola stock, you bought all this Nike stock, you bought all this stuff at freaking fire sale discounts. And all it cost was a couple million jobs, a couple million 401ks. But they're peasants anyway, so who cares? And that's how it works. Welcome to my TED Talk. I really hope that he backs off. But if he doesn't, a lot of our channels are going to have a lot less to talk about, because there's no way you're going to collect a wave. There's no way you're going to buy a bunch of G.I. Joe figures at $80. It's just not going to happen. None of you are going to do it, because you know what? You're going to say to yourself, this G.I. Joe figure now is $50 it will now cost me $50 for a paratrooper. But my kids' sneakers that used to be $10 are also now $50. So, and my wages have not increased. That's how that works. But hey, you know what? All trust to God, right? That's how we roll. That's how we roll. One last check of the comments here. Ultra went to bed, I believe. Everybody say goodnight to him. I'm on a roll. We'll see. I might do a longer video on this with more evidence, but there's no need. I don't know. I might do it for fun, but I can also just take this segment, put that on YouTube if people even care. If they care. But I feel like a lot of people just won't. I feel like people won't care until they're directly feel it. And then they'll get pissed. Make sure you have your limit buy set to the 200 moving average. If you can set it like that, sure. I don't know if you can. I pay attention to a lot of stock things, and I dabble in it, but I'm still not proficient in options trading, and I'm definitely not proficient enough to set things to be automated. So I don't know if you could set to a 200 moving average. That's probably not even real. I don't know. I know it is a 52-week moving average. And only buy companies that do good in a purge. Yeah. Invest in pew-pews. Even Walmart took a hit today. Walmart, companies like Walmart are usually a safe bet. And then people realized all their stuff comes from China. And they're like, oh shit, wait a minute. So everything comes from somewhere. It all comes from somewhere. And I watched, like I said, I was watching that video today. JB knows what I'm talking about. I was watching that video today. And I was like, you guys are just so, not even just like unaware, but just so like misinformed. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And some of the things that like, you know, a Biden gets blamed for, this dude does way worse, and people are just like, oh, that's fine. Literally, the stock market crashed today, and he's there now. The stock market crashed today, and he did his press junket thing today on Air Force One on his way to Mar-a-Lago for vacation. He's going on vacation again. He was just in Mar-a-Lago. He goes to Mar-a-Lago every weekend, but he's taking an extra day to have an extra long weekend as the economy crashes. If Biden did that, all hell would break loose. If Obama did it, you piece of shit, blah, blah, you're not even American. My man goes to Florida every Friday. And people are like, he's for the people as the economy crashes. It's wild. It's wild. It makes no sense. Found an MCU Electro Deluxe today for $40 too expensive. Bro, that's going to be like that. That's going to be a new sale price if things continue. $40. That will be your new sale price. The other thing, you know, tariff conversation aside, $40 for a deluxe figure that doesn't even have an unmasked option to look like the actor because of likeness reasons is crazy. It's that shit's crazy. Is what it is. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know it got kind of heavy at the end, but I had to talk about it. I'm very passionate about the business side of things, and I think that's why a lot of you guys do watch my content. Is, you know, I'm not always looking at a surface level, or not looking at things from the surface level, but I'm also looking at it from like the numbers. Does it make sense? I watch every Hasbro earnings call and I talk to you guys about it because that stuff's important. It's important because like if you're not buying things, they don't think it makes money. And then if they don't think it makes money, you don't get any more of it. It's just business. Nobody's immune to it. NECA, fucked. Super 7, fucked. Four Horsemen, fucked. Ramen Toys, he's actually international, fucked. Mafex, you thought your $140 steel action figure from Reign of Superman was a lot of money? You thought your SH Figure Arts Vegeta for $80 was a lot before? Mm-hmm. Beast Kingdom figures, fucked. All of them. That dragon, I'll tell you what, don't be surprised. Do not be surprised. If this stuff continues, if he doesn't cut the shit out, don't be surprised if your pre-orders, for example, 6-foot dragon for $400 or whatever it is from Four Horsemen Studios, that's amazing. It ain't gonna stay the same price. They're not gonna eat that. They can't. They literally cannot eat that cost. So all of you who pre-ordered stuff like that is not currently in the States, you're gonna get an email. You will have to get an email where they're like, hey guys, please, we're begging you. The price just went up. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So yeah. But at least they're not, at least this administration is not making you gay. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, you can't unmask. The electrode sucked. Yeah. That one looked pretty good. The one that Patrick got. Make sure you guys check out this video. That one actually looks pretty good. Let me guess. Fucked. Yeah. There you go. There you go. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for listening. All that fun stuff. Your cost for admission to HeyArcher Live every Thursday, 8:15-ish p.m. That hopefully will not change. But what will help all of this continue is just watch, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Like on Meta, like on Instagram, Facebook, like on Threads, reshare on Threads. I didn't even talk about that. TikTok, that shit might be gone this weekend. You don't know. Deals up this weekend. Amazon just wanted to buy the name, by the way. They weren't trying to like buy the algorithm and all that stuff. And by the way, you know who owns TikTok? Fucking China. You know who's mad at us right now? Fucking China. Make it make sense. Like I said, HeyArcher Live every Thursday, 8:15-ish p.m. here on Nerd Affiliated. Nerdy Coffee. I almost brought it back this week, but I was watching the news, so I didn't do it. Like, comment, subscribe. More Ghostbusters content coming, and we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. I'm out of here.
What? Specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, beer.
Yeah, come on, push a button. Push the goddamn button.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.